Hey there, everybody. All right, so brace yourself because today I got something special for you. And so I'm diving in to the Bitcoin halving today. So I'm John, and thank you guys for tuning in. You've probably heard of the Bitcoin halving. If you haven't heard of the Bitcoin halving, I'm excited for you because this is about to change your whole life, okay? You see this car behind me? For one, we're selling it, okay? The value of this car, I think we're selling it for $32,000. It's a Mazda truck, but of course you have to come get it or something because we're in Honduras, right? So we're selling this car. It's actually 720,000 Lempira. So either way, I will actually sell this truck though for half of a Bitcoin, and I'm about to tell you why. Okay, so first things first. The thing that makes Bitcoin special is that there is a limited supply of Bitcoin. And that might sound crazy to you. Like, how could something digital on the computer be a limited amount? Okay, so the way that works is that there's actually cryptography, very complicated cryptography that's involved. And so the cryptography is basically mathematics. This is the same technology that they use to encrypt private communications. So like when you use WhatsApp or you have your iPhone, your messages are encrypted. So that gives you security. You don't have to worry about other people being able to read your messages basically or intercept your messages because of that encryption. So the way Bitcoin works is that you actually use the encryption model in order to create a mathematical equation that makes every single Bitcoin transaction and every single Bitcoin specific to pretty much a serial number that is randomized. The way that this is ensured that it is randomized is that there are Bitcoin miners are using very intense computing algorithms on computers to make sure that basically that the network is secure, and they're trying to secure every transaction. So as they're securing the transactions, what they're trying to do is guess. Each one is trying to calculate what the nonce is. Okay, so this is a little bit more technical than most people actually need to know about, but the nonce is actually a randomized number that is attributed to every single block in a chain of transactions. So you have the reason that Bitcoin is on a blockchain is because it is a chain of transactions. Every transaction is captured in a block, and it's incredible because the way that it works is that the blocks stack on top of each other. So there's a sequential order. With the security of the Bitcoin miners, and with every miner and every block having a specific nonce that then makes the rest of the encryption make sense, there is then a hash. So the hash is what actually that sequential number is. So every block has a hash and every block has a nonce. So what Bitcoin miners are doing is they are fighting against each other to try to find what the nonce is. Once they find the nonce, they're basically ensuring that block is actual true and that it's validated. So once that block is validated, then there's another block that then commences after that and stacked on top. Okay. A little bit technical there, but anyways, the cool thing about the blockchain is that once a block is stacked on top of another block, you cannot change any of the information that happened before that block. This is what gives you the security. This is what gives you the immutability. People talk about immutable ledger. Immutable ledger. I'm going to say that again. Immutable ledger, okay? Basically, a ledger is like a journal or an accounting system, what a bank has. It's basically a balance sheet. The ledger for Bitcoin is immutable. Once those blocks have been validated, you cannot go back and change past history. Okay? Anytime that there has ever been anything different than that, what happens is that the blockchain is resilient, and when the numbers do not add up, then it creates what's called a fork. So a fork is a split of the code. This means that the fraudulent information will be cut off into another chain, and then the accurate, valid information that over 51% of the miners in the world agree upon, that remains the Bitcoin code. Whenever there's a fork, then everybody on both networks gets a copy of their balance from the other network, And basically what happens is one of those chains will die out because the majority of people will stick to the chain that is accurate, and they will go with the one that makes the most sense. Okay, so this has just been how it's worked in the past. This is not a 100% predictor of the future. But what we're trying to get to is the Bitcoin halving. Okay, so the crypto market cycle works in a 4-year cycle. The reason it works in a 4-year cycle is because of the halving. The halving is actually a certain number of blocks. So after a certain amount of blocks have been validated, right? And the miners that solve each block, they get a reward in Bitcoin, right? Once all of the blocks come into circulation, which is only 21 million, then from that moment forward, the miners will be rewarded by network fees. This is what ensures the security of the network. All parties involved in the network benefit from the network functioning properly. Okay, so we got that out of the way. So now what is the Bitcoin halving? It's what you're all waiting for. Okay, so the Bitcoin halving happens every 4 years. It's a specific number of blocks. And once the halving occurs, the amount of rewards that the miners receive is cut in half. Okay, so might be incorrect on this, and I'll put the true numbers in the description, but I believe that there's 960 rewards that are given out to miners a day. So this means 960 Bitcoin then come onto the market every day. Okay, so here's where it gets spicy. All right, so right now the price of Bitcoin is around $37,000. This might change. I actually think that we're going to drop down to $33,000 in the next couple of weeks, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe quicker than that. However, when that block reward comes out, those miners then usually sell those Bitcoin onto the market, and people buy those Bitcoin. What you need to understand is that right now, Bitcoin is at $37,000. There is not enough supply of Bitcoin, not enough people that are selling Bitcoin for the demand that there is in Bitcoin. And this is going to get even crazier. Oh my gosh, I gotta move because we are raining now. Sorry. But so there's not enough supply for the demand that we have currently. This is going to get even crazier once the Bitcoin ETF gets passed, which I will make a video on what the Bitcoin ETF is and on what the Ethereum ETF is. But basically, that is going to be a mechanism for institutional players. This will be all of the banks, all of the investment funds, all of the venture capitalists that aren't already invested in Bitcoin. Also, this will create a way that people that are retiring, people that have Social Security, people that have different types of retirement packages will be able to choose Bitcoin into their package. That's Rose over there. It's my baby. But this is basically going to increase the amount of buying pressure when the Bitcoin spot ETF passes, okay? Because it's going to pass, it's inevitable. It's going to increase the buying pressure, as well as these huge institutions that are selling Bitcoin products on the stock market and everything else. They will have to actually hold physical Bitcoin and purchase Bitcoin on the market for all of the Bitcoin that they are trading or holding, which this is crazy. This is immense buy pressure. If I buy some Bitcoin, I probably put a couple $100 into it, right? Because I'm poor. When institutions buy Bitcoin, they're talking about hundreds of millions, billions, right? And they are serious. When we're talking about BlackRock, potential trillions, and there are like 30 other huge hedge funds that are talking about potentially trillions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin. Right now, in the Bitcoin market, I believe the entire market of the whole market is like $1.3 trillion. During the middle of the bear, it was like 700 billion, right? 800 billion. It was like so much less than that. But the thing about the Bitcoin halving is that the rewards for Bitcoin miners get cut in half, which means the amount of supply that can come out on the market is cut in half. We already do not have enough Bitcoin. We don't have enough Bitcoin. There's not enough Bitcoin for people. Everybody is holding it. right? People are not just selling their Bitcoin. If they bought Bitcoin and they understand it, they're holding on to it and they're never going to sell. So this is going to force these institutional players to purchase Bitcoin on the market. For an example, when the gold spot ETF passed, all of these huge players, the news, the traditional media, large banks, huge companies that were purchasing gold, they said it's not going to affect the price that much. So don't worry about it. Don't run out and get gold. It's not going to affect the price that much. So when you hear the CEO of JP Morgan Chase coming out and he says, hey, don't buy Bitcoin. When this Bitcoin ETF passes, it's not going to even affect the price. These are the same people that were saying that about gold. Okay, so here's the crazy part. When the gold spot ETF was passed, the value of gold proceeded to 27x. Okay? So what I'm saying is that we got a perfect storm brewing here. We have a perfect storm for the Bitcoin spot ETF happening soon, perhaps before the end of this week. And if not the end of this week, it's going to be the beginning of 2024, okay? Coin halving occurs in approximately 6 months from now, okay? And listen, if I'm off by a couple days or a couple weeks, it's because I recorded this earlier and I'm going to then put this out. However, I recommend you look at a Bitcoin halving countdown clock. There are hundreds of different Bitcoin halving countdown clocks on the internet, and it gives you the countdown of how long we have until the Bitcoin halving. The thing that always happens leading up to the Bitcoin halving is that it happens, there is a huge fall in price, and then it gets bought up. And then from there forward, it takes a little while, everything is still cooking on the stove, and then boom, shit goes exponential, parabolic. We're talking about green candles straight up and to the right, up and to the right. And this is what happens. Historically, every Bitcoin cycle, the price of Bitcoin does not go below the low of the last cycle. And the low of this cycle was 15K. So my question is, what's going to be the low of the next cycle? And I think the cycle before that, it was like in the thousands. All right? So what do we have in store for us next? And what does this mean for you? The first thing that it means for you is you don't hold enough Bitcoin. For one, I don't hold enough Bitcoin. We don't hold enough Bitcoin. But there are a lot of small cap coins in crypto that have utility, that provide some kind of service or utility that has a lot of value. Those gems, okay? These things that are worth right now at the present, we'll say less than $100 million in market cap. Some of them even less than $10 million in market cap. Some of them less than $1 million in market cap because they haven't even really come to market yet. These things are gonna go absolutely nuts. So let's say that last market cycle, the top of the market was $69,000, okay? A lot of people are calling for $250,000 at the top of this market, okay? I'm looking at somewhere around $100,000, $150,000. That's still fucking awesome. If you bought Bitcoin and that 15K goes to 100,000 or 150,000, you're doing pretty good, okay? However, for example, gaming crypto, so for example, some of these other sectors like AI, I think AI is going to be one of the biggest sectors this market cycle. I'm going to name a couple of AI plays that I think are going to do good. One of them is Fetch AI. I think it's going to do really good. I think that Render is another one that's going to do really good. And Pal AI is another one that is on my list of accumulation that I've been looking into for a little while, but now all these people are starting to talk about it. So I have FOMO, right? Because We're still early, and the market cap of Pal AI, I think, is like under 20 million. Dude, I cannot even explain to you what that would mean for you. What I'm saying is, last market cycle, we heard of people buying Dogecoin early. We heard about the Dogecoin millionaire. I think at the top of the price, it was like worth like several millions, and he actually waited until it was like now worth 50,000 again. What I'm saying is, I am not rich. I could use a couple $1 million, and I would use it well. I would argue that I would spend it better than most people. So what I'm telling you is, we've had a bear market, a lot of time to do research, a lot of time to pick our winners and cut our losses. Okay? If you lost money in crypto before, it was because you were late. You waited until Bitcoin was worth 60,000, 50,000, and that's when you started buying. I'm saying we are early. What this next cycle has in store for us is unpredictable, and I think for the better. If we're looking at the macroeconomic landscape, we have the war in Russia, Ukraine, right? Israel, Palestine, what's going on there. I think that there's going to be more of that, okay? China has said that they're going to be ready to take Taiwan, right, by 2027. And then so the US said, well, we're going to be ready to defend it by 2025. Bitcoin halving is 6 months away. And as terrible as this is, I want you to understand something. In times of crisis, in times of war, there's a lot of fear. In the world right now, there's a lot of uncertainty about the value of different money and currencies and different economic problems hitting all kinds of different countries and denominations, and well, really all of them. And so what I am saying is, I believe that we're going to have a flight to safety. And before, crypto was absolutely crazy, irrational, very volatile, super scary for you to put your life savings in. What I'm saying is that when these crises happen, I think that flight to safety in the technical age is now going to be Bitcoin and the crypto market. If you didn't have the opportunity to invest in Facebook, Google, Amazon at under $1, right? I didn't have that opportunity. I was born a little bit too late, right? But those people had, and Google had the largest opportunity to gain immensely in the dot-com boom. And a lot of those internet stocks, internet companies were very volatile when it came to price. But eventually it leveled out. So I think we are on the precipice of that situation where volatility has scared people for a very long time. But I think the fact that if you are fleeing your country and you have $100,000 in gold, you can't take that with you, or somebody will take it from you. However, if you have $10 billion in Bitcoin and you remember your secret phrase and you don't hold that Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, then you own your keys. You own your Bitcoin. In economic uncertainty, you now have Bitcoin, which you can convert into any currency. You can go to any ATM and withdraw your Bitcoin, and it's only going to get easier. It only makes sense. We're almost there. Keep holding on. If you're deeply underwater, I recommend you either look at your portfolio and reallocate, because maybe you invested in things that didn't have value. If you don't understand what service that your crypto provides, then you are taking a gamble. If you don't understand the value or the utility around what you're invested in, if you can't use what you've invested in, you need to reevaluate your strategy, because you are gambling. And I'm telling you, after what we'll say is, we're in 2023 right now. Okay, since 2018. So we're talking about 5 years of experience learning in this market. Okay, I should have gotten Bitcoin earlier. I should have gotten it cheaper. I should have held on to it more. I should have bought without knowing what I was buying, right? 2013, I wish I was in a place at an age that would have made sense, but 2013, I just graduated high school. There was no way I was going to know anything about... I guess I could have maybe been in high school and been buying drugs on Silk Road. However, that was not the path I took. I knew some people that did that. I wish I had learned about Bitcoin then, but I can't go backwards. I can only go forwards. And forwards, I'm telling you, the strategy is to get into a lot of these very good projects early. And we're early right now. You've got probably a little over 6 months to still be early. You get positions in these projects. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm telling you what I'm going to do with my money. I'm not a financial advisor. However, I'm going to get into these projects early. A lot of them I've been in for a while. And I'm going to wait until they hit their all-time highs. And then they start going crazy. And then I'm going to take that money out. And all of the high-risk plays that I have in my lists, that's where I'm putting my money. So the idea is 10x my money, or 20x or 30x my money in my conservative plays that I am very certain will do well. When those go nuts, take that money and then put it in these high-risk plays that are probably going to 50 to 100x, but all I want is a 10 or 20. Maybe a 30, 40, 50. We'll see. But that's all it takes. It takes a 10x in a large cap coin, then a high risk play, 10x again, you have 100x. A lot of people are going to be really greedy. You might be one of those people that was greedy. You held on too long, right? You didn't sell when you had profits. I've heard some really good stories from some of you where some of you took way more profits than I did, and I didn't take any. If you watch my first video, I watched 5K to 50K and down to 8K. I'm not doing that again. And I don't want you to do that either. I'm going to recommend some books for you now. I'm going to recommend Catching Up to Crypto by Ben Armstrong. It's actually one of my favorite books. I know that he's a controversial figure and some people don't like him. Some people do like him. I think that book was more valuable than the $9,000 that I spent in colleges to learn about crypto. And it was like $20. The second book I'm going to say is The Bitcoin Standard. It's a really great perspective on a lot of the stuff going on around Bitcoin and money and how money works in general. The other books that I would invest my time reading are going to be honestly something probably like The Art of War or The Strategies of War by Robert Greene. I can't remember. I think it's 33 Strategies of War, something like that. But anyways, if you look into what I'm talking about, if you care, you'll find what I'm talking about. Also, Robert Greene's book of Human Nature, The Laws of Nature. I'm telling you, those things changed my life. And I really want everybody to succeed. And I really hope that you all take this time to really learn about crypto, see what it's actually doing, find the value proposition, and invest in value. Value investing is what will give you the biggest return every time. I was trading stocks before and I was winning money in dollars. Then I started learning about how dollars are depreciating in value and I'm getting taxed. And then I was like, damn, I really need to reevaluate what I'm actually getting out of all of this stress and time and effort that I'm putting into this stuff. And what I'm telling you is, I believe crypto is that solution. and learning how to use it, learning about staking, learning about decentralized finance, learning how to take a collateralized loan, risk management, learning these things is what's really going to set the people apart. I think that there's a lot of speculation that we're already in a recession, and I think we're probably in a recession. However, it just feels that way. Most of the time when we're in a recession, we don't feel like we're in a recession until afterwards, when things are really tough. Because we're coming up on an election year, coming up here soon, I believe that what's gonna happen is the current administration is gonna improve a lot of the economic numbers. They're gonna do whatever that they can to hold up the charade and make everything look good. And then I think after that, they're not going to be able to hold it up anymore. And that's when I think the cards are going to fall. This is our time to prepare. And if that doesn't happen, and the economic situation in the United States and across the world doesn't get worse in 2027, if we don't have a global recession in 2027, like I imagine in my mind, what I see happening, then you did good. You made a bunch of money. You took care of your family. You bought your mom a home. For me, I want to buy my mom a home. I want to buy my 2 kids a home. I think my wife will stop stressing about money and working so hard. If we just get the kids houses, then we can relax. Here in Honduras, it's a lot easier to buy homes. I'm not talking anything crazy, but really, there's a lot of things that money can buy you, and there's a lot of things money can't buy you. Money can't buy you family. They can't buy the time with your loved ones. Well, it can buy you time, right? So it can buy you time with the loved ones, but it can't buy you time with your loved ones that are no longer with us. So you need to be present, you need to be here, but you need to be paying attention. Looking at the market every single day and only buying on days when the market is bad is the best way to minimize your risk. When people are talking about cryptos going to zero, that's when you should be getting your checkbook out and being like, damn, how much of what am I buying today? Because people are going to keep saying Bitcoin is dead. People are going to keep saying crypto is dead. And those are the moments when the truth will shine through and the truth will set you free. Anyways, that was my sermon for the day. I hope everybody's having a good day. Enjoy yourself. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know something. If there's something that I said that really connected with you, or if there's a project you're looking at, or if you have questions about a project, I will make sure to address those questions here in the future. But have a good day. Thank you guys. Love your family. Spend time with your kids. Call your mom. Touch grass.